Good morning, I am Adubala from Biological Science Department. Today we are going to see about the assessment, the intent learning outcomes. And first we move on to the intent learning outcomes. It is nothing but that the students have to describe the statements and what they know and what they understand and how to do this knowledge as well as the skills and how to they feel to the particular point of view and believe that I will come at the learning experience that is to be written in the form of a course or a program or an entire institution that are come under the intent learning outcomes. And next we move on to the learning outcomes. The students will do or what and how that are come under the learning outcomes. Next we move on to the 4 recommendations of intent learning outcomes. First, if we follow the ABCD guide, A stands for the audience, B stands for the behavior, and C stands for the condition. D stands for the degree that are the major components of the intent learning outcomes, and also it can develop the learning outcomes for the following ABCD pattern. Next we move on to the design learning outcomes at the multiple levels of Bloom's taxonomy. In this particular part of the assessing the intent learning outcomes, it's mostly upgraded the knowledge of the revised Bloom's taxonomy, and the lowest level of the revised Bloom's taxonomy is the remembering, that is to the students can recall or period recalling that the information or a knowledge as well as the particular point of view that has to be created in or addressing the synthesizing the elements to develop their new ideas in a new product of a new technological ways that are come under the designing learning outcomes the multiple way. And next we move on to the part of the 4th recommendations. Share and revisit the learning goals and outcomes of the students. First we have to share the knowledge or outcomes serve as a framework, that is the instructor should share them in the course syllabus or a framework or a course that is to refer to them throughout the semester. In addition, that the learning outcomes can be shared at the beginning of the class also, and after that we have to revisit it at the end of the class, that is the comment at the learning outcomes of the students. And after that we have to ask the students about their intent learning outcomes. After the end of the course we have to ask the students about the learning outcomes and the learning targets that indicate the students respond positively or negatively for the particular course or a syllabus, that the goal is to be gained or obtained for the learning outcomes, and that instructors can engage students in the questions, asking the questions about their learning in the first class sessions or in between the classes or end of their classes, that the goals were to be aligned in their intent learning outcomes that are the combined that they ask the students about their intent learning. Next we move on to the monitor student progression in achieving this particular outcomes. We have to develop ways to different ways to assess the whether the students are working towards the particular outcome or not, or it is in between the working towards the particular outcomes or not. We have to analyze in this part of essays, quizzes and exams, formative assessment that likes think, pair, share, that 1 minute paper and clicker questions or MCQ, whatever it may be. We have to develop we have to monitor the students progressing in this part of achieving outcomes. We have to monitor, and after that we have to assess the importance of learning outcomes. There are lots of importance while assessing the learning outcomes. We have to achievement of learning outcomes help the faculty to understand whether the course is effective or not, whether the program is effective or not, it is upgraded or not, it is useful or not. We have to assess this particular program. After that we have to inform the data whether the course or a program is functioning properly or not, or it is not functioning in the proper way. We have to need to be redesign the program after this assessing the importance of particular learning outcomes. And next we move on to this part of educational objectives learning outcomes. We have to think of the ideal students graduates. First it's what students know, that knowledge are come under this first part, and what students can do means we have to practice what students care about, the thinking attitude that are come under the education objectives learning part. And we have to move on to the learning outcome examples. First we move on to the communication part. After that only the students communicate well, that the communication department will be provide lots of opportunities to develop the students willpower and skills and knowledge in the effective manner, and also it will gradually improve our several courses also in this particular part of the communication skill. Next we move on to the learning outcomes of research skill. Research skill also design their own way of thought provoking process, and they carried out the research process in the way of psychology lab. Should teacher teach this particular high quality research skill also? Students have demonstrated high quality research skill also, that the experimentals that to be designed carry out by the students herself itself. And next we move on to this part of learning outcome, ethics. Ethics is important one in our life. It is in this part of biology department will teach ethical responsibilities to the students also, that in this part of courses also we have to include the ethical part also, and in the field of biomedical research all. By the end of the course we have to analyze these students will be able to do this particular part. That's only we have to conduct the needs of assessment, we have to develop in the program, and we have to create a marketing brochure, we have to predict the factors, and we have to develop lots of method to evaluate the particular program successfully. These are all the commented by the end of the course. And these are all the reference I have referred in this part of assessing the learning outcome. Thank you. I hope you all understand my topic. Thank you so much.